This video is brought to you by Sam Bass Music.
You're watching 90s Rock in 9 minutes. I'm Sam Bass, this is Slim Pickins, and today we are going over an album that a lot of people probably don't even realize rocks as hard as it does. It's the Alice in Chains self-titled
album. Yeah.
It does have a couple other names though, right?
It does. It's got several other names. It's informally called the Dog Album, the Dog Record, or my favorite name for it, Tripod. Good old three-legged dog.
I read somewhere the drummer said it was a three-legged dog used to terrorize him in his neighborhood.
Yeah, when he was on a paper route.
So then it just stuck with him.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that would stick with and influence a rock artist, I think.
Absolutely, especially when you need a cool album cover.
Yeah. Oh, and I researched, and they apparently they had a photo shoot for the dog. And then, do you know about this?
Yeah, I read about it, but you go ahead, you tell it.
Did you see the part where they were they just wound up going with a fax?
Somebody faxed them a photo of a three-legged dog, and they thought that one was a little grittier, which it probably was, coming through a fax machine. They did end up using the picture that they took from the photo shoot in a box set that I think came out maybe in the late 90s or early 2000s. Yeah, so this album, though, is a sad one for me, Sam.
You think sad? Okay, and so why would you say that?
Well, this was Layne Staley's last studio album with Alice in Chains. Layne went into rehab, and the band, they never officially went on hiatus, but they went on hiatus.
You know about Mad Season?
Yes.
Layne Staley did this right before this, and he was clean, wasn't he? Wasn't that the...
Maybe for a spell.
So
he was never clean very long, I don't think.
Okay, because I thought, we can, if you check out previous episode, my top 10, I'm not going to spoil anything about this other than that, you'll see.
Is this one on your top 10?
Oh yeah, that is a spoiler.
You're only spoiling 10% of your top 10. It's okay.
So 10% spoiler. Well, that's also on the list too. So
this now 20% spoil.
Only 20% spoil.
Do you want to do the other 80?
Click the link. Just click the link. There's still 80%. What are you gonna say?
Well, I was going to say, with the exception of the 4 singles that were released from this album, Grind, Heaven Beside You, Over Now and Again, only with Again was Layne Staley the lead singer. Jerry Cantrell was the lead singer on the other 3, which is perhaps an indication of some of the problems that they were having getting Staley into the studio to rehearse and to record at that time. I would have liked to have been a very sad fly on the wall during that period, just for, history's sake.
It's a tough ending, but you said this album it's kind of a sad album to you. To me, I find it to be kind of a triumphant, because it's like, even though he was had all those problems, he still showed up, and I like this one the most because if you listen to the one right before it, Dirt, right? That was the one right before. A lot of high-pitched higher register screams, and just it's over the top, classic Alice in Chains. This is a little more harmonious or whatever.
Yeah, they rely a little bit more on melody rather than like the kind of metal riffs, which that was one of the things that I always liked about Alice in Chains, is they really straddled the line, in my opinion, between that hard grunge and metal. So hey, did you know that this album it came out with 3 different versions? You have the transparent purple jewel case with the yellow-green spine. Then they had another that had those colors reversed, and then they had one that was monochrome that I think they sold mostly in Japan or overseas.
They also did this for the greatest hits.
Yeah, right.
Which this also featured a new track. This was their last studio album, but their last actual release with any new music was this one.
Okay, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's got the song "Get Born Again" on it.
Yeah.
So this was the last studio album from Alice in Chains. And then they really only had one more big performance after this, right? And
Yeah, that's right. They did no more studio albums. Only other thing really that gained any real prominence was the MTV Unplugged album.
Yeah, and this is a masterpiece right here.
It really is.
I saw a clip online, and it's of Metallica, and they're making fun of Alice in Chains playing the Man in the Box, and then the guy's walking around jabbing his fake. He's like, I don't get it, dude. So I thought that was pretty low of Metallica.
That's a little douchey.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, well, Metallica's been known to get on the douche wagon from time to time.
Yeah, that was. They had a song called Douche Wagon, Ride the Douche Wagon, of their album.
Wait, are you being serious?
No.
You had me fooled.
Yeah.
I think it was clear to everybody that watched the MTV Unplugged
that he was totally healthy. He was probably in better shape.
completely healthy. Yeah, no, not so much. He looked terrible, but the talent was still.
The talent was there.
Still there.
The talent
that made it so tragic to me. So something that we probably ought to look up after the show are the Nona Jones or the Nona tapes. Have you heard of the Nona tapes?
I have, and I saw that. And Jerry Cantrell makes a really great looking transvestite.
Did you look at him? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I watched it.
See, I haven't seen it. All right, so tell me about it.
Oh, he's like a.
Well, hey, a little background first. So the Columbia gave the band money to do an EPK, an electronic press kit, and instead they used that money to do what ended up it was a mockumentary called the Nona Tapes, where Jerry Cantrell dressed up as a female journalist, Nona Weisbaum, and interviewed the fictionalized version of his bandmates. So I read that, but you've seen it, so tell me about it.
I mean, it was just Jerry Cantrell in drag, driving around in a car, interviewing the other members, and they were in like a bar or something.
Seems relevant today. Seems like maybe that ought to be something that...
Yeah, it was really forward thinking.
Right?
This was the last album they did, and the last song on it is called
Over Now. Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like it's about that.
It really does. I actually, when I realized that as I was listening to it this morning, I went and looked up the lyrics, and honestly, Over Now, it fits for the end of any album. But being that it was the last one that Staley did with them, and the fact that he was dead just 6 years later, kind of gives that song more gravity.
That's a real. This isn't Photoshop.
Real dude.
A real guy.
Franklin Tenney.
With 3 legs.
Yeah.
Why? Do you know why this happened?
I assumed the original idea was for the dog, but when they decided they were going to have a 3-legged dog named Tripod on the front, they got a 3-legged man to fit the back. He was an Italian-American sideshow performer born as a conjoined twin. I guess, I don't know what happened to the rest of the twin, but he made it, and he ended up having 3 legs. He was known as the 3-legged football player and would use his 3rd leg to kick a football across the stage.
I don't know if that would fly now.
Yeah, probably not.
You've been watching another mind-expanding episode of 90s Rock in 9 Minutes. I'm Sam Bass. This has been Slim Pickins. And did you want to promo your band, Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations?
Yeah, so I play guitar with Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations. You can check out that most recent album, Continuous Vaudeville, on all streaming platforms. And by the time this episode is out, I'll have my first 3-song single, Wisteria, up on all major platforms. So be sure and check that out. Again, I'm Slim Pickins, and that album is called Wisteria.
And I've checked it out myself. This stuff does rock. Do yourself a favor. Go check it out. Do yourself another favor. Like and subscribe. And do yourself another favor. In the mirror, what do you see? Is it really you or just a facsimile?